Do you want to move that?
We are now live.
Do you want to move that?
Well, there's not much I can do.
I look like I'm literally set in a box.
Hi everybody, we are live. We've just realised our lighting is terrible.
I literally do look like I'm just a piece of the sofa with a head on top.
Can you? I don't know
Did you
why.
want to move that?
Okay, as you're joining, let us
Sorry.
know who's coming on. We just realised our lighting is terrible. But as you join, say hello. You know who I am, Katie. Welcome to my Cuppa with Katie, my first ever Cuppa with Katie. And meet my husband. This is James. I'm just going to see if I can change the lighting, but I don't know.
Maybe I should have worn a different coloured top. I'll tell you when. Oh, that's a bit better. Oh, that's... Yeah,
that might be as good as it's going to get.
That's a bit better.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better, yeah, I think. I don't know. You do this all the time.
Anyone
That's
there?
better.
We've got a few
That's
people
better.
joining. Hello. Hey, Izzy. Hi, honey. You see there's people joining there?
Yes.
We just realised our lighting was terrible. Who else is here? Hello, hello. So James and I are actually really quite nervous because we've never done this together before. And while I do lives all the time, James doesn't. So this is a new one. And we've got a dog next to us any minute now. He's going to knock the camera over.
Hopefully
Because,
not.
hey, Wendy, how you doing, darling? So good to see you. Hi. Yeah, Boomer is shagging a cushion here.
Do you need to tell everyone that?
Yeah. Well, you know, he's practicing with a cushion, and he's getting all a little bit feisty. So we could lose the camera any second. Hi, Helen. Mwah, how are you? Good to have you, Liz. Hello. You know Liz, don't you?
Oh, hello, Liz. Hi. Yes.
Hello. I think
Hello.
you've met Wendy before as well. Oh my God, the dog is literally about to... Boomer, can you not? Can you take that pillow away from him?
No, he's all right. Keep him occupied. But he's trying to push the table over.
All right. Okay, so
Okay.
we're about to lose the camera to the shagging dog. Alrighty, so the
Sure.
purpose of... So I'm going to do a series over the next couple of weeks at least in your tea.
Thank you.
We've got our cup of teas here.
I actually
manage that?
genuinely did want a cup of tea, yes.
Do you want that?
But, yeah,
You all right with your
yeah,
hand?
yeah.
James has broken his arm, so he's a bit of an
Great.
invalid right now. Yeah, so over the next... Oh, hi, Lindy. Hello, darling. You're supposed to be on my singing Zion. Why do I feel like you're saying singing Zoom? I don't know. Thanks, Liz, for your encouragement. Yeah, so over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to focus my Cuppa with Katie shows speaking with men about love and about relationships. I want to get a man's perspective. You're always hearing from me and my perspective. And I think, you know, we need a different perspective, right? And especially for the single ladies. I know not all of you on here right now are single, but I know some of you are. And for the single girls, like, you want to hear it from a man's point of view, don't you? And I know that Boomer's getting a bit feisty. Boomer!
He's just going to bite my foot. Ow!
He's now attacking James's foot.
Oh,
But
stop
for
it.
the... Shh.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Hold that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's
This
right.
is live,
He's gone.
right?
Sorry.
But we like a man's perspective, and I know that when I was single and I hired a couple of coaches to help me see what I couldn't see and understand what my blocks were, one of those coaches was a man, and he represented the empowered masculine to me, and he modeled and demonstrated the way a man can be, which I never believed was possible. I kind of thought that was a bit of a pipe dream. I didn't think men like that existed. And so having a male coach to model that for me was really, really powerful. And I know, having run my Daring and Mighty... Sorry, I'm here like on high alert waiting for the dog. I know, having run my Daring and Mighty Love program for, I think, 3 years running now, for some of the groups in the early days, and I haven't done it for recent groups, but in the early days, I used to get James on and do a Q&A with the group. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you, honey. And they... Do you remember that? And
Yeah, you used to drug me a lot beforehand.
No, because the first one we did, I was actually running a retreat in Portugal.
Oh, I do
And
remember, yes.
it was a single girls retreat. It was really fun. And while I was out there with the girls on this retreat.
Oh, that's right.
We dialed James in on a Zoom, actually probably Skype then. And they just asked all their questions. So I really do want to encourage anybody, but particularly if you're single, but you don't have to be single. Any questions actually around love and relationships from a man's perspective. If you have any questions for James tonight, he's very willing and available, aren't you, darling?
Of course, always
to answer your questions. And and any questions for me tonight as we chat along. I'm hoping this will be about half an hour, but let's see, depending on dog interruptions. He's really, I should show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Can you see Boomer? Boomer, oh, there, he's properly attacking. Can you see him? He's attacking this cushion. He's trying. Anyway,
the joys of a dog.
Lindy, yeah, this is being recorded, darling. Lindy's bored and wants to watch the recording later. No, this will stay on the School of Self-Love Facebook page. Yes, so you can catch it later if you want to. Anyway, so let's just get a conversation rolling. Because like I was saying, you know, when I dialed you into the retreat that I was running, that the Q&A session we had with those girls was brilliant, and they just got asking the questions that they never get to ask men. So if you have those questions for James tonight, please go ahead. Darling, the world wants to know who you are. So who are you? What have you been up to today?
So at the moment I'm studying for an exam which is happening next Tuesday. It's an exam, once a year exam, and so for the last, probably the last 4 months I've been studying on and off in amongst working, and then the broken arm has been a bit of a pain, but also a blessing because I've had to study. I've been able to study a lot more.
You're doing very well with that.
So yes, I'm sat out in the office. We haven't decided what to call it. The den office shed. It gets referred to as a cabin.
We've got an office in the garden now, as well as my office
You
upstairs.
just call it an office.
Office, there it is.
Den, whatever it is. I call it the shed. It doesn't really sound very good. So I've been out there all day again today, pretty much, and that's been my days spent like that for the last week, really.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It was my birthday on Monday.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was, yes.
It was a bit of a.
I'm 47.
It was a bit of a letdown birthday having, because he's just broken his arm.
But yeah, there we are.
Doghouse, Kelly said.
Doghouse, yeah. In the doghouse,
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very rarely in the doghouse. So that's I don't think that would work. But anyway, 47. I've been in the same career for 26 years in January. Wow. Gosh.
Are you allowed to say what you do?
Yeah, I work for the government.
That's all he's allowed to say.
Oh, yeah, I can't say more than that.
No,
but I won't go into detail.
No. How old were you?
I'm not a civil servant. That's all. Not that anyone's a civil servant. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a civil servant.
Careful.
I know. What was the next question?
How old were you when you met me?
43, just nearly 43. Yeah.
So then I was 42.
Yeah. So 4 years.
Which is important
4.5 years
information, ago. I think,
Yeah.
because a lot of the women I speak to who are over 40 and single, they think that their age is a barrier to meeting somebody. It's a big one. Like, it was a big one for me. There are many other barriers. If you're a single mum, it's like, oh, but I have kids as well. That's another barrier. There's multiple barriers, but age can be a big barrier. Did you feel like your age was a barrier to meeting somebody?
From a male, not really. No, I don't.
Why is that? Why is it that
I never even thought about it, to be honest. I didn't think.
it didn't even cross your mind?
No.
What about your appearance getting older? Did that bother you?
No, I've looked the same for about. Actually, I thought I'd looked the same until a colleague at work picked up some old passport photos the other day that were on my desk, which I don't know. I think I found them in an old cupboard at work. And I get called JT at work, and she said, "God, you look so young on there." And I said, "I'm not any different, am I? Do I look different?" She went, "Oh, maybe a little bit, maybe not." And she was then really worried that she'd offended me. Yeah, totally worried. And Anyway, I looked at it, and then I thought, oh, maybe I do look a bit older. And then I looked at the date on them, and they were taken in 2011, 9 years ago.
Wow.
So I probably had less wrinkles.
I actually don't. Until recently, until I've been doing my dog walk live videos. Some of you might have been watching them. Sorry to interrupt you, darling.
That's right.
You told me to cut you off if you carried on. That's not what I was doing.
I do carry on.
That's not what I was doing.
Katie did say half an hour. I said good luck. I talk a lot.
But since I've been doing my dog walk videos, which are like no makeup, lighting, whatever it is, whatever it is, I've really been noticing my wrinkles. And then like properly, like I've got new ones across here, and I'm really having to suck it up. But I think appearance
didn't bother me though as a man.
No, I know.
What I look like, it didn't worry me really.
But I think for women, it's a thing. Am I alone here, ladies? I think, look, for me, I wasn't bothered. I felt like I was actually in really great shape when I was 42, because I was in better shape. I've let myself go since meeting you. And I genuinely have.
So nice.
But I think we women we kind of notice our age more. Helen says, had a strange incident this week. I'm not actively looking to meet someone, but a few days ago, a guy at my gym told my gym buddy he really liked me. All good till I found out he was 26 and you're 47. I love that. I love that. I have a few of those stories as well. The cougar stories, I've got some good ones. Maybe not for now. I'm sure I've told you about them.
Not all of them.
Darling, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
My work, really. I think, much as I sometimes hate it.
What, because you just have to? Or
no.
I
You know me better than anyone. I find it very hard to do nothing. So, getting up. Yeah, what gets me up? I don't know. My dad always says, doesn't he? Best thing about waking up is being able to get your feet out of bed and put your feet on the floor. I always think of that.
Being grateful.
Yeah, I always think that. And opening the curtains and wondering what's behind them. It's like this eagerness to see what's going on in the sky. Yes, because I'm a big blue sky fan.
Yeah. Well, you need to.
Fan?
Yeah. You need to live on the
We
beach,
do.
darling, and see what the weather's doing, see if you can go for a surf. Or
Exactly. Yeah. So what
That's our dream.
What else gets me up? I don't know. Being with you, and that sounds cheesy, but no, just see, I knew you'd do that. This is not scripted. No, it is. Spending time with you, spending time with the kids. Not so sure about him.
The dog.
Too bad. I'm joking. He's lovely. No, I don't ever have any trouble getting up. There's always something positive to get up for the day. So I've never been one to just lay in bed. You know that.
I wish you bloody would lay in bed more often.
No.
Kelly's loving the real you dog walk fresh face videos. Thank you, darling. Yes, I'm learning to love my wrinkles. What do I want to ask you? Okay, so right, let's dive in. Has anyone got any questions for James, by the way? Don't forget to post them. We're very available to answer them. All right, so I'm just looking at my questions here. James, you were married?
I was.
And then you had a couple of relationships. And was there a pattern? Was there a pattern around why your past relationships didn't work out? And just say as much as you feel comfortable, remembering we're in a very public space here.
By the way, I haven't seen these questions.
No, he has not seen these questions.
So
was there a pattern around? Because I can see for me patterns around my behaviour and my beliefs that had my relationships be a bit would not work out. So did you have any patterns? Do you think?
With the other relationships,
yeah.
Personally, or did they have?
No. Well,
did the relationship have any?
Was there a pattern in the relationships that you had before me that you can think of?
That's it's a hard question.
It's quite a big question.
It is quite a big one.
And I'm asking because I guess my follow-up to that is going to be, so what changed?
Right. So yeah.
Like why is this relationship going to work?
Yeah, I
Do you
think
know what I mean?
the previous relationships are, and again, it's not fair to talk about them. It doesn't matter. No one knows who they are. But
No.
there was I certainly I suppose I didn't. I'm trying to think really. I didn't notice. I didn't feel personally with me there was anything different in me, as in who I definitely think I've grown since I've been with you. That's without a doubt. But prior to meeting you, I didn't feel there was anything particularly different with me after my ex-wife and I splitting up and being in those relationships, if that makes sense, before I met you. So those years, those 7 years of being single, if you like, and I did have a couple of long-term relationships, so I was never one for one-night stands or just having fun. It just wasn't. I didn't find that interesting and didn't appeal to me whatsoever, despite going on dates where that was clearly a motive, but I was never particularly interested in that. But there was a pattern with the two main relationships I had, which was both those ladies were had real significant previous issues that now I sort of that clearly had never been dealt with by them, which created then distrust and no depth or honesty within the relationships. And I suppose it's only now that I say now, in that respect, it was one of the main other reasons we did end up splitting up, and I never wanted to, progress the relationship any more than that, is because it was clear that there was, and I was aware of some of it, but they would never talk about it and never open up about it and never go into detail or want to deal with it. So, that was both those relationships, and the first one was 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, and the second one was about the same. And it was only at that point I was like, we're never going to get past that. So
that's really interesting. So they were showing up in their current relationship constantly in reaction to past relationships, past hurt, past traumas, past stuff that hadn't been dealt with.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I could go into massive detail, but
so how no, and I don't want you to, because that's not really very fair.
No,
them, right?
Absolutely no.
We're all doing our best. So then what shifted? How did you attract in somebody that was this is really interesting for me too, by the way, because we totally haven't planned this and James doesn't know what he's up for tonight. So it's interesting, isn't it, that you had that pattern of being in a relationship with people that had stuff that they hadn't dealt with, and then you end up with me, someone that's like her whole life, career, passion, focus is on healing and transformation and overcoming to be, the best possible version of me. And I think you'll also back me up here when I say I'm still a work in progress. Like I'm still.
Oh, for sure. No,
but you know what I mean.
You're
right?
always going to want to improve, and
so what do you think shifted to going from that to this? Like it's
kind of
polar extreme. Yeah, it's polar opposite.
Because this is not scripted. Definitely not. Promise you that. A very good friend of mine, Ash, who before I met you. So I had a good period of probably 8-9 months of just being on my own, and I was sort of fed up with talking about the same. He's still a very close friend. We've been friends from school, and he made it clear that I had to. He said to me, when we were looking at buying our house, I've told you this before.
When we were buying our house?
No. But he said to me, he's told me to use the analogy, use the same comparison as you use when you're buying a house with who you want as a relationship next. Okay. Do you remember? About the compromise thing. And he said, when you move house, you look at what you're moving to or where you're moving to. So if you live in an area which has got a gym and supermarket down the road and everything else and all that, and you don't actually use it, then why would you be looking to move to somewhere that has all those things? Because that's what people do. So look at what is important to you for your next relationship and list it. And that's what I did. And that's when I created those 5 questions. Do you remember?
Tell them about it.
I wish I remember what they were. I mean, they'd probably be on your phone still. I bet they would somewhere.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, that would be really interesting.
So yeah, I think what shifted for me, you're saying, is those 2 relationships were really like, it was clear that there was underlying issues with both those girls. And listen, I'm not saying I haven't got any, because
I'm not saying I haven't got any. Like, you have them, right?
I have, but I think I recognise them with your loving help, darling. And I'm certainly a lot clearer now about what my issues are, or have been over the past, thanks to you. So for that side, it's not about you.
Kelly, by the way, is saying you have a wise friend. We can tell Ash that.
Oh yeah, he is a wise friend. Yeah, he's very wise actually. Anyway, so I did that, didn't I? I listed those things, and then from that I wrote 5 things that were, I felt were, and bearing in mind my job, so I've got a lot of interview training, so I know when someone's like, I'd like to think I know. I'm pretty
He
certain.
has interrogation training, by the way, and I received his interrogations when we were dating. But just before we go on, and then skip to that, because that's going to be a really fun conversation. Can we just go back a moment and can I just use my language for what you just said?
Go ahead.
So my language in my world, what James did, which is what I did and what I do with my single clients, one of the many things, is to get really intentional about what you're choosing to call in. So there's an element of, we focus so much on what we don't have. And let me say that again. We focus so much on what we don't want, and we don't get intentional about what we do want instead. And I think one of the reasons we don't do that is often it links back to a self-worth issue, self-confidence, self-belief, self-trust. All of those pieces have us blocked to actually bravely declaring and giving ourselves permission to connect with, what do I really desire? What do I really want to call in? We don't do that work. It's really powerful work. It sounds so simple, but it's really powerful. And we have to get really intentional. So you got really intentional.
Unknowingly, really.
Yeah, totally unknowingly, but that's what's so cool.
I didn't know about this world.
No, so James is totally not, he's not all spiritual and woo-woo like I am. He doesn't speak my language. And I thought that the guy that I was going to call in would be. I thought he'd be uber spiritual and woo-woo, and he'd probably be a coach. He'd probably be, I genuinely had this sort of...
hair, I think you said.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have hair.
Sports car.
Yes, and a super yacht. Sports car and a super yacht.
I turn up in a 25-year-old van.
But it's about getting intentional. And then the other thing that I did, that my clients do, is to write what I call a man menu. This is just one little tiny piece of the bigger puzzle, but it's an important and very powerful piece. It's a very magnetic piece, is to write your menu, your list. So what are your non-negotiables? What's an absolute must-have quality? What's an absolute must-not-have quality? And what would be a nice-to-have quality? That's 3 lists that are really, really powerful and worth writing if you're single. So you actually, without realizing that you're
just a couple of mates chatting over beer and
right.
Just write a list.
Yeah. And we actually wrote the same list for this house when we were in Bali. Do you remember when we were trying to work out if we were going to buy it or not? But
you're a bigger commitment than a house, though, darling.
Thank you. I bloody am a bigger commitment than a house. So you wrote a list. You got intentional. And then, do you remember what was on that list? Here we go. This is what is on a man's list. This is going to be good, because I actually don't think I've heard this answer.
I think you have. Yeah, because I have 2 lovely children already, and I was really clear I didn't want any more children. So that was the first thing. Someone who doesn't want children.
You never actually said that to me completely on our first few dates, just saying.
Rumble.
Because I actually did want kids.
I know, but I think I said I didn't want someone that specifically said, I'm only interested in a relationship if I have children. Right. Again, if I have more children, because that would have been a no. But what we said on our first few dates is true. I would have been open. I was open to it, but it wasn't for me, it was a bit of a deal breaker of, if I went out on a date and someone said, I'd just so you know, I want children. I could just, you know, I'm going in the nicest way, because I would have done that. It wasn't for me.
Yeah. Okay,
And
that's
so,
cool. But you were really clear and had a boundary on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone that didn't have huge high expectations of me, you know, like they're trying.
What do you mean? What kind of I've got some expectations. What kind of
No, but like, you know, I didn't want someone who was going to be, I don't know. In fact, in the sense that one of my ex-girls, I'd gone from two extremes. One of them, like, you know, was like if I literally walked into another room, was like, where are we going? What are you doing? The other one didn't really care what I did any weekend. So it was like a bit of a, oh. So I mean, in the sense that I didn't want someone that was going to say, you know, oh, you can't go anywhere, you don't do this, don't do that. And I didn't want anyone that didn't care. So it was a balance of high expectations about what my life would leading my personal own life.
Do you remember anything else that was on your
Financial.
list? Yeah.
Didn't want someone in. It sounds bad, but in a way, I just didn't want someone, and I know why. You know, we know why, because we've spoken about this since, haven't we? About this money's nonsense, which is nonsense. But that was one of the things that was on
But you wanted somebody that was financially secure.
Oh yeah, I wasn't after someone. I didn't want someone with. My expectation wasn't that I'd meet a multi-millionaire. In fact, I did go out on a date.
Will you still want to be with me if I become a multi-millionaire?
Potentially. But I did go out on that date with that girl, you know, and she was lovely, but it was just something not right. She owned like 20 something properties in London, you know, didn't do anything. But it wasn't for me. It was like, yeah, great, but what else do you have? What else was on there? They had to have a child, because I had two, and I wanted someone that knew what it was like to have a child and be responsible for that. I can't remember much else. There was probably other things on there.
So this then leads into your interrogation methods on a date.
You probably remember more of this than me.
I sort of do, but I was really up for it. I loved your line questioning. I loved it. I loved how direct you were. You were so clear. You knew exactly what you wanted. You outright asked me your direct questions. And I think because I was so clear and in such a great place of self-confidence and self-worth, and
it made you practice.
Oh, thank you.
It did.
Thank you.
Straight away.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
And there was no. Do you remember me saying to you, I'm really, I'm intrigued. Yes. You left me intrigued.
Yes.
On every date for about the first 5-6 days.
Intrigued how? Because this is kind of key, by the way.
Because you had so much. Well, it was nice to meet someone that I was really I knew, as I just said, I knew exactly what I wanted. So and I've been, I don't know, 20 something dates, 25 dates in the 3 or 4 months leading up to meeting you. But do you remember I had that rule of half an hour drink thing?
Yeah, so this is what I want to talk about. So what was your dating strategy? Did you have I think you had a dating strategy, right?
Well, I had the 5 questions before I'd even meet. This was all done on apps, which is,
Bumble.
I was on Bumble. I was on another one as well. Was it Match?
So
I think I paid to go on Match.
So your approach to dating was a couple of apps, an online dating site.
Clear questions
That you're going to ask.
Yeah. Before I'd even I make it sound like I'm some sort of Adonis. Before I'd agreed to go on a date, but before I'd even
choosy.
Yeah, I was really fussy. I wasn't fussy, but I was fussy. I was choosy. Yeah, I was choosy. I knew I couldn't. I didn't have time. I didn't. I was working long hours.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to faff around.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and that actually made it much more interesting for me because I could just, what was important is people being reflective of their images.
Also, what they look like on their profile, wanted them to look like that.
Well, Yeah, and not a lot, but at least 30% of the time they didn't look like
Well, it's funny. So Wendy has just commented saying, really interesting that your list wasn't anything about how the woman you were calling in would look. She loves that.
Yeah. Oh, tall. One thing I did have on there was tall because I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
And my girlfriend before that was 5'5", and the one before that was 5'3".
Oh my God, really?
Or 5'4". No, I remember. Yeah, 5'4", 5'5". Anyway, 5.5. Roughly.
Yeah. Do you want someone tall?
Yeah.
Tick. I wanted someone tall as well.
With hair.
Helen's saying, love that too. Yeah, with hair. Yes.
No, I didn't want someone with hair. I, of course, wanted someone with hair, but you wanted someone with hair.
I do, man.
Anyway, go on. What was the thing?
And so you had your dating strategy. You're on some apps. You're on an online thingy, something. What do you call it? Online dating site.
Mm.
You had your very clear questions. And then what we began to, and then you interrogated me with your questions. So when I was dating James, this came across really clearly. So he had his 5 questions that he asked me, and they were around, he asked me a question about money, which I thought was really brave and bold, but I liked it. I liked how direct he was. I really appreciated his clarity, his certainty. It came off as really confident. It did come off a little bit ego, but I could feel, but then I knew it wasn't. Like I could feel a depth to him. What's up? You right?
Yeah, just he's chewing on. So go away, please.
Boomer.
Right, go on.
I could just feel a depth to you that, yeah, which was important to me. And you said that you felt with me, because I think this is really key, and this is key to the work I'm doing with women. It's about the inner work, isn't it? So that you become the magnet for him to come to you. So it's not another thing on your to-do list to like call in love. And while I was so focused, now I feel like I'm kind of blowing air up. I'm feeling a bit egotistical right now saying this, but this is the work. Like I was so focused on myself and on my energy and having my energy be aligned and healing anything that needed healing, particularly my heart, changing up my belief systems and so on. I was really moving myself into a place of such contentment in my own skin, such happiness in my being, really enjoying my life, really focused on feeling good every day and moving into a space of absolutely trusting that I knew my guy was looking for me too. I really got to that place and I knew exactly what I wanted. I had my absolute non-negotiable list and I had my nice to have list, the super yacht.
Hair.
And hair. But I think, okay. So he felt that energy off me, which he found to be, what was your word? Intriguing. And I felt it off him, and I felt it in his confidence and his certainty. And it was just a really nice dynamic. Yeah, really. Yeah. Is that anything else you want to add to that? Let me look at my questions.
No, I don't think so. I mean, no.
Oh, Izzy's got a question.
Ooh.
Hi, Izzy. How many dates, careful of this.
Yes.
How many dates did it take to make you realize Katie was the one? Can you hear Boomer, by the way, in the background?
It's interesting. I don't think there was a... all I knew is that even after a couple of dates, I was just I was just really eager to know more, because you didn't give away too much, but you didn't give away too little. And I think on the first few dates I'd been on previously, I was like, I either knew everything and it was all bad, or drama and everything else, or I knew very little. And that could come across as either shy, a bit arrogant. I'm talking about other dates with other women. Whereas I think with you made me continually interested in you and wanting to know more. And I think that's what kept that momentum going, because we had we had some pretty strong agreements when we first met, didn't we, about what we would be, what we wouldn't be doing.
What have I done? No. Okay, I thought I'd lost this.
What we wouldn't do and things like that. And I loved that as well. We agreed that that we shouldn't be. We should certainly wait at least how long we were able.
We said did you say 3 months?
I think we said 3 months. Yeah,
we were going to
have any sort of sexual relations apart from kissing. I think and I was really clear on that because I think I brought that up.
Yeah, you did, but I wanted it too. I wanted to have that arrangement.
And the reason I did that is because I was, I said, I've been on those dates where it was quite clear that was just not. I don't know. I felt that there was something definitely there, and I think that for me was, I don't want this to just be someone who's just after something short-lived. And so many, and I can't remember what. But it was something in me that said, look, if this is going to ever have any longevity, which I think I wanted it to, right after that second or third day. I think it was our second date. We went to the Griffin. That was our second date, wasn't it? I think after that, I thought, okay, there's some longevity here. I can see it, and I don't want the intimacy, sexual side of it. Not intimacy. That's the wrong word. Sexual side of things to take over, which they so often can. So I didn't want that to happen. So I was like, right, let's try our best to.
And Izzy, to answer your question as well, I remember.
I answered the question.
No, it's cool. But I remember.
So it's Christmas probably.
Was
Australia, I think. Yes.
Yeah, no, but I remember on our third date when you came round to cook for me.
Yeah.
So I was actually running a group coaching program, and I was upstairs in my office hosting a 2-hour coaching call, and James had agreed to come and cook me dinner that night, and I said to him, you can come cook me dinner, that would be amazing. And he'd never been in my house before. I think he met me at the front door for the second date. He picked me up and left again.
Covered in chicken shit. It was chickens.
It was chicken. I had chickens. But he'd not been to my house before, and I said, yeah, come and cook me dinner, that would be how amazing.
But actually, sorry, can I just interrupt? But actually on that, what made that more interesting and exciting for me was that you were really, I realised you were taking a massive step by doing that.
By letting you in.
But by just simple thing like letting me cook for you.
Yeah, it was. Well, I also let you into my house. I literally left my back door open while I was upstairs on a coaching call. I heard him arrive, and I was on the call with the girls going, there's a guy just turned up to my house. He's downstairs cooking me dinner. And they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's so exciting. And I'm like, I don't even know this guy. We've been on 2 dates together, and he's here in my house, in my kitchen. And I left out some Corona beers and limes and stuff, and said, help yourself, and I'll see you in a couple of hours. But I remember after that date, and you did stay the night that night, but nothing happened. We were very good. And it was the next morning, and you were leaving the next morning, and I remember you standing on my doorstep, and you told me very clearly, in no uncertain terms,
see you again.
How interested you were.
Yeah.
And you just said all this stuff. It's sort of blah about how you were keen, and I remember you left, and I thought, oh my God. I remember jumping around the kitchen and crying a bit and laughing all at the same time, thinking, holy shit, I think you might be the guy. So I think we both had a very strong feeling after the third date, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we didn't last 3 months, by the way, before we took our clothes off. That did not last, but we tried. The intention, not the intention. Well, the intention was there, but
and the right reasons were there for
it. Yeah. Darling, what was when you were dating, and you had this list of. You had 5 things. No, it was more than 5. You had this list of who you wanted to be with. How possible did that feel for you? How realistic was that to you?
It was realistic as I wanted it to be. Really, I suppose.
What do you mean?
Well, the list was for a reason, wasn't it? So it was up to me to make that list happen. So that was the non-negotiable this is going to happen because this is my list, if that makes any sense.
So you were very confident in your list, and you just weren't going to accept anything
I didn't have time.
other than that
I didn't
list.
have time, and not time as in my life. I was only 41, 42.
Boomer.
Just chill, man, chill. Yeah, no. It was up to me. It was like, if that wasn't gonna, well, who was to blame? Otherwise, I'd be going through the same thing again. It was like, well, I'll just repeat the last 2 relationships for another 2 years, or however long that would be, 18 months, year.
But you didn't. So the reason I ask you that question is because when I wrote my list the first time, it's hard to watch him, isn't it? Try not to look at him.
Sorry.
When I wrote my first list, I was like, well, that's a total pipe dream. That guy doesn't exist. Who do I think I am to attract in somebody like that?
Yeah,
I'm not meant for that. Like, I had all these beliefs running. Did you not have that experience?
Maybe my expectations were a little bit lower than yours.
Shut up, you got me.
I know I did, but the point I'm making is I was like, I was realistic. I wasn't,
That makes it sound worse. Okay, so you didn't have any beliefs that were like, that's not meant for me, I can't have that. You felt quite certain that was possible for you. I didn't start my list with the bar really high. I started my list at nothing, and then went like, what's important? And if a multi-millionaire woman would have been important, then that would have been there, wouldn't it? But in other words, I put my list at what was important to me. Yeah.
And so I knew that was realistic because it was my own values. It was like, well, this is important. So
you knew that somebody else that valued what you valued existed.
Oh, totally, yeah. Which is why I asked.
That's really cool.
Which is why I asked the question.
That
Do you remember the one about the 5-star hotel in the camper van?
Yes.
Which is still really dear to me and really important. And that
one of his interrogation questions. So there was one around finances and how financially stable I was, because he basically wanted to. You actually asked me if I was in debt.
Yeah, and ex-partners. Do you remember?
You asked me about my relationship with my ex-partner. You wanted to know how good that was.
You're not on the camera, darling.
I am. I've just moved it across. And you asked me, that camper van question was, what would you prefer, a 5-star hotel, spa hotel, or camper van under the stars, glass of wine? And I said both. I am both of those women. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. So nothing bothered you about. You didn't feel like your list was unavailable for you. Did it excite you?
It excited me for once to be able to realise that actually this was a turning point.
So to have written that list felt like a turning point.
The next step would be a turning point.
Oh right, just in your whole dating life.
Well,
love life.
My life.
Your life. That's quite cool.
Because it was like, well, it's like it wasn't like I felt that it was really. I was really certain that this was it. So whoever I met next, that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was.
But you just knew.
Yeah, it was like not a new chapter. It was like a whole new book.
And that's really interesting to me as well, because that was where I got to. And this is why, God, I'm so scared that Boom at any minute now is going to knock over the camera.
I think he's looking for attention.
Yeah, he's looking for attention. Do you want to say a quick hello to Boom?
Boom, dog, silly dog.
Yeah, what are you doing? Crazy animal.
Can you stop with this, please? Bye bye.
He's being crazy. But that's it. So this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about the need for us to be a vibrational match to what we're calling in, this is what we were for each other. For both of us, we both had the same shared intention that the next relationship was going to be a game changer. The next relationship was going to be a life changer. The next relationship was going to be it forever. The next relationship was going to be shared values. Do you know what I mean? Like, we both were like, this is it. We both were very intentional and both were very connected to our own. Boomer, why are you being like this tonight? Is it because we're not paying you any attention? And by the way, if you have any last questions, because we're going to wrap up in a second, I can feel like we need to tie this up, and the dog's just going to. So any final questions, type them in now, because there's always a little bit of a delay. But yeah, we were both we were an energetic match, and I was holding out for that, and you were holding out for that.
Yeah, I suppose I've just gone about it in a very masculine, simple way.
No, I don't think it's necessarily masculine or simple. It's just you had a different language for it than I did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
You know, we just exist in different worlds, don't we? But that's also a really cool, crucial piece. It's like James was my guy, but he didn't show up in a package or get delivered to me in a way that I thought my guy would, because I kind of thought my guy was going to come from my world. And you're so far from my world. Like, I never thought that I would be with somebody in the police, for example. Like, I just...
Oh, no, you've given it away. Why do?
Yeah, but I haven't said anymore.
Ooh, okay.
You know, so we were...
No, I don't have a uniform.
No, he doesn't wear a uniform. We were a vibrational match. But I think what's also really interesting just to say that because we're having this conversation now because I am about to begin a 5-day challenge, Meet Your Soulmate Challenge. I think some of you here are already in that challenge. We start in 2 weeks. Yay, 2 weeks today. And because of all the work I've been doing to pull that challenge together, and it's been a lot of work, like proper heart and soul has gone into creating this, and I'm so excited, and I don't think I've ever felt more excited or more on purpose about a program that I've launched ever. And I'm just so focused on it and so in love with the offering. It is mental how many Jameses I'm meeting at the moment. Isn't it weird? Like, even tonight we walked the dog, and we met a guy in the park whose dog is exactly the same age as Boomer, as a female. So Boomer now has a girlfriend. They love each other. And his name was Jamie, the guy who owned the dog. I'm interviewing a couple more Jameses in the next week. I'm going to be interviewing 2 Jameses on my Cuppa with Katie. And it's just weird, like just lots of Jameses are coming at me, and it's because it's a vibrational match. There's Jameses, that name has a vibration. Our names even have a vibration. It's not even such a common name. But lots of Jameses are coming into my sphere at the moment because this is what I'm vibrating right now. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's really weird.
It is.
So, any last words of wisdom, encouragement? What would you say to a single woman that is just desperate to meet her guy and feels like she's tried everything and he's not come in?
Don't have one-night stands.
Don't have one-night stands?
Don't have one, no, with anyone really, because that's not the right bloke.
Can't you have them just for fun?
You did. Anyway, no, seriously. I mean, be intriguing, be mysterious.
Okay, and what do you mean when you say be mysterious?
Don't be rude, or don't come across rude or arrogant. I'm absolutely aware if you're in here with Katie, then you're not going to be. But I don't know. I really don't. I don't have all the answers, but I think if you're going to meet someone who, I don't know, you just got to find. There'll be someone out there who finds you intriguing, and that's what you need for who you are. I mean, you and I are so different in many ways, aren't we? But then very best friends, the closest. Say the same stuff without even thinking about it. Think the same stuff just by looking at each other. And that person exists, and without a doubt they're there. I never thought I would ever get married again. I mean, God, I was like, not doing that.
That's true, actually. You did say that to me on one of our first dates.
Yeah.
And I'd never been married, so I was, I was pretty keen to get married. Although I wasn't like desperate to get married. I really like the idea of it.
I never wanted to live with anyone again, did I? You know, we came back from Australia after 3 months. As like, let's move in together, and we did within a month, 6 weeks, and here we are 4 years later. So I think that you'll know. Don't lower your expectations. Just don't compromise.
Yeah, I really.
And I think if you don't compromise, that person will appear.
Because you're creating space for them to appear.
Well, I think if you're like, no, this is it.
I think that's what you mean.
Any...
But I think that's what you mean about one night stands as well, isn't it? Because you're saying if you're giving yourself to somebody for a night, you're making yourself unavailable to somebody else.
Yeah, but potentially, and you know, don't be afraid to walk away from dates. I did this half an hour thing, which I just need to touch on.
That's a good point.
Which sounds harsh, but I was past caring about it in a way. I'd meet whoever I'd met for a date from whatever app it had been, and you know, sometimes it said 20% of the time the person would turn up, they wouldn't actually look like their picture. But maybe they did 20 years ago, a bit like me with the passport photo. But I haven't changed that much. But they were clearly different people. You know, an imposter.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and looks aren't everything, but they've got a massive impact on the person that you want to meet. Well, because you're taking time out of your life to go and meet someone, and we're all human. We all look at people and have ideas and thoughts about whether we find them attractive or not. And if they turn up in the flesh and they're not attractive, you're almost on the back foot straight away. So just be perfectly honest with your photos. Otherwise, it's just a wasted trip. Because I'm sure women do the same. They look through apps, or if they are on apps,
but it's really
and they look
hard. Like I remember, and I've written a post about this, which will go out soon. But I remember choosing my pictures for Bumble, and oh my, I couldn't get it right. I had people telling me, "You look too good. They look too professional. Oh, you look too girl next door. You're not showing yourself off as pretty as you are." Like, I couldn't win. So
yeah, but just don't show anyone. Just do. Don't. Just I only chose photos which I felt good. I thought.
So in the end, that's what I did.
Yeah, I look good on there. That'll do. It's not misleading. It's, you know, different settings. You know,
yeah.
I think one I was like with a surfboard, the other one I was in a suit or something. I don't know. Anyway, the point is about the date thing is you know, I would meet up and I would be really clear. I would either buy my own drink before the person got there, or turn up late so they'd already bought a drink and buy their own drink. That's not about the money thing, but it's just I just want to set the expectation. Like this is how I did it. This is not right. I'm just saying this is how I did it. And remember our date? I turned up early, bought my own drink, sat at the table. You know.
I do seem to remember you bought me a drink as well.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Did. Well, yeah,
you
walked through the door and I was like, I better buy her a drink.
I was not available to not be bought a drink.
I was like, this girl looks better than she did in her photos, so I'm definitely. And, you know, that's a key, really, because if you look worse, then the person's already thinking, this isn't going to work. If you can't be honest on your picture, how will you ever be honest with me in real life?
Honesty is key. Yeah.
So, and then I would walk away after half an hour. After 30 minutes, I would just sit down with a drink and say, just so you know, not being rude, but if after 30 minutes I feel this is not going to my expectation, I'm leaving.
You never said that to me.
I didn't have to, did I? Because I knew the minute you walked through the door. I suppose that's true, actually. I didn't say that to you.
You didn't. And if you hadn't said that to me, I'd have been like, bye.
Would you, though?
Yeah, I wouldn't have liked to hear that. If you said to me, in half an hour, if I'm not feeling it, I'm leaving.
Well, no, I didn't. Sorry, I mean, it'd be like, you know, let's have one drink, see how this goes.
Oh, sure. Okay, that's a different way of saying it.
Not like, oh, I've got 30 minutes, I'm setting the stopwatch now. If we're not at least necking, then we're off. Not like that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, God, life's short and time's bloody short, so don't fuck around. Just get to the point and move on.
Yeah.
And shit me, there's thousands of decent men out there.
And I love how he said, and I think you said this, I don't think I'm putting words in your mouth, and you said there's just one person for you. There's just one, right? There's one. And that one is going to love everything about you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's about waiting for that one. Like, allow that one to come in and believe that that one exists.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to wait that long. You know, the person's...
Well, they're looking... Like you said, you knew that someone was looking for you as well.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But only when I knew what I wanted. Otherwise, I'd have just wasted the next 2 years just dicking.
So because you knew what you wanted, you believed that somebody else knew, someone else fit that.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a really good point to stop at, I think. I like that. That's amazing. Kelly says, you guys are just perfect for each other. Oh, thanks, Kelly. Yeah, we are.
She's a good cook as well.
I am a good cook, it turns out. I'm doing all the cooking at the moment because of his arm.
I can't chop anything. It's my right arm, so I can't do any cooking. And I love cooking. As capable.
Yeah, he does. He's a very good cook.
And so frustrating. But my wife's had to cook now, and she's bloody good actually. I think she's worried I may get too used to it and go.
I am actually. I'm a bit worried. I want you to, when your arm is healed, I want you to be back cooking for me again.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining, especially those of you that were able to stay the whole time. We have been on for an hour, so much for our half an hour.
That's a long hour. I told you I talk a lot.
But it was really, really good to be joined by you. I enjoyed having this chat. Did you enjoy this chat?
Yeah, I did actually, yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah. We were nervous, but hey, here we are. We've got through it.
Glad you didn't ask me any questions before or tell me about them.
No, I know, it's better, isn't it?
No, it's good.
So like I said, if you haven't already joined the Meet Your Soulmate 5-day challenge, we start on the 19th of October, so that's 2 weeks away from today. You need to be signed up, registered before the 19th. You can't join halfway through the challenge. You can't join even after the Monday. So you need to get in quick and early. It's going to be frigging amazing. Like, I promise you, I'm putting my heart and soul into this. I've never delivered a 5-day challenge before. And I'm really, like, I haven't focused on anything so deeply in many years, hand on heart. It's going to be really good. So please be there. The energy we're going to be creating in that space for that week is going to be freaking intense and magnetic, and it's really going to set you on track to calling in your guy. Because from where I'm coming from, like, I don't have a strategy. While James and I were just talking then, and he was sharing, he had some dating strategies. For me, it's not about that. It's about becoming the vibrational match. It's energy work. It's about connecting with your feminine energy. It's about stepping into your empowered feminine so that you can very naturally and easily attract your empowered masculine. Yeah, so I hope that you will join me. And then I'm having another conversation this week on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Pop it on your calendar. Thursday evening, 7 p.m. with Ben Bidwell. He's also known as the Naked Professor. If you're not already following him on Instagram, I invite you to go and check him out. He has a pretty huge following, probably because of all of his naked photos. He's also a very cool guy, a really good friend of mine. And we have really good, open, like, deep, meaningful, vulnerable conversations. And he is single, so he's going to be sharing what life is like as a single guy. And what his male approach to dating. So that's going to be a really good conversation. So that's 7 o'clock on Thursday night this week, UK time. Sending you lots of love. Have a beautiful evening. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See ya. Thanks, Wendy. Bye.